So, allow me, I'm a little unconventional, some of you know, I'd like to begin with a quote. People do not care how much their leaders know until they know that their leaders care. And I'm going to return to that caring and knowing thing a couple times today in the 45 minutes presentation that Chairman Chapa has allowed me to give. I am, after all, an academic mission, and I have many resources that I'd like to quote to you. But speaking about caring, allow me to offer my thanks for you all to come. The special guests who he's known for a long time, Maricela, Larissa, Teresa, Alejandro, and photographer and sister-in-law, Anne-Marie, for coming. There is one more member of the family that could not make it for logistical reasons. Zena the cat has cat dander, and those of you that are allergic to cats are very pleased that she did not come also. But I did want to give a special part because it is a special member of the family. Truly. So, onwards to distinguished guests, of course, commanders, Colonel Grantham, whom I've known a long time, longer than you like to believe, and Colonel Cheatham, who I got to meet yesterday at another promotion. Other leaders at all levels and team members, thank you for being here. To the great singing of both national anthems and the invocation, thank you for that as well. All right, let me shift gears to how we started. We've known each other a long time. We were both born at young ages, and we went to different schools together. And about 30-some years later, we ran into each other at this great campground called Joint Base Balad. I say campground because it's temporary, and you get away with things on campgrounds. Nothing, you know, the General Order 1 in play, but you're away from your families. And so we had the opportunity to talk about things that we would normally not take the time to talk about. Drug addiction of his, but more seriously, in case this is being taped, the notion about what do leaders do? What do mentors do? What are priorities, roles, goals? How much time do you dedicate to these kinds of things to try to keep things into balance? Habits of highly successful people. Numerous texts are on this, and I love reading this kind of stuff and pretending I know about it and living it. But those were the kinds of things that we could talk about. The meaning of life. We spent a few times on the ground, face to face, because of incoming mortar fire. So there's just bonding moments that you usually don't get a chance of here at home station. So take advantage of what you can when those times appear. Well, as you'll soon hear in the publishing of the orders, President Obama spent some time reflecting on whether or not he should be promoted. And in particular, the three requirements are the patriotism, integrity, and abilities. And they're going to come up again, sort of, not so much the patriotism part. And of course, we know this fine gentleman here and physician has all three Air Force core values nailed down. The integrity thing again, and then the excellence in service. Again, in service to patients and family and community, and an excellence in several things, commitment, knowledge, and so on. So I'll get back to that. Now, there are about 15 to 17 attributes to leadership if you lump them and sort them. And so I'd like to touch on three of them today that enumerate things that just jump out about Dr. Chapa to me. And that is commitment, and then putting together generosity, servanthood, and the stress of being up here. And focus, and then the third one is responsibility. So anyway, and there are two venues that I'd like to point at for success. First of all, Maricela has known this guy longer than I have, 32 years, although they're only married 20 years, so you know, there's lots of issues yet to come. And so in multiple dimensions, lots of moves and so forth. And then you also look at success of the children, because we're measured by that. You have to pick them up at prison and so forth. It then reflects on parenting completely. It's not their responsibility at all. It's all the parents' fault. And so there's Larissa, who's going to be going to University of California at San Diego this coming fall and working on her black belt. So stay on her good side. And then there's Larissa, who's interested in sports and just finished her sophomore year, and of course soccer in specific, and cats. And Alejandro, who's a good, wonderful, typical 13-year-old who enjoys sports, friends, reading, and video games. So great successes there. And then I want to turn to the things that he's done over his career, since being a fledgling doc all the way now to be the chief of the medical staff at several different locations, with focusing on things such as patient satisfaction, patient safety, the impressive great catches rate that you've had, and near miss responses, 300% increase on one occasion. I've tried to do this at several different jobs and have failed. So that is a mark of excellence that you've achieved there. The EFMP program that he has looked at, VPPs, a variety of things, end-of-life care for a particular individual. I mean, the caring and passion that he has shown is striking and consistent. So now moving back to those three items that I thought that he well espoused. John C. Maxwell, a doctor of ministry that I quote often, has written many books. He speaks in one of his chapters on commitment about Michelangelo. He was not at all interested in painting the Sistine Chapel, but was roped in, and apparently when the Pope lords over you and says, you're going to do this, the alternative is lots of flames and a short life. So he said, sure, I'll do that. And his commitment, once he decided to do it, he was so superbly committed that, as you all know, he was just within inches of the ceiling so that he could make it perfection. And people frequently said, no one will ever be that close to the roof of the Sistine Chapel. Why do you care so much about the detail? And his answer was, God will see. Now, again, there's this God-fearing thing, but in general, it's the sense of commitment. It's about a goal. And he's had numerous goals, whether it's family or patients and others around him. It's all about 360-degree leadership. It's people above you, beside you, and below you at all levels that are remarkably important. People only follow committed leaders. They can tell those that don't inspire and attract others to them. And clinically, he's had to turn some places around, and that takes people to follow. You can't do it all yourself. And so that commitment has come through. That conviction is very clear to him. He believes and has believed in his cause for quite some time, and with a little luck, it'll continue well into retirement, because we have to wonder what do all those dried up docks do after a while, right? When we're done with the Air Force and we're too expensive to insure. So that's when you start teaching and doing other wonderful things. He's been tested by action. He has a way better feel than many of us as what is worth dying for. And so, again, honing that commitment and also looking at generosity and servanthood as to what is the real priority for the people. It's not about him, it's about others. So it opens up the door to achievement for sure, but generosity is not an occasional event. It comes from the heart and permeates every aspect of someone. And again, you can tell someone who feels that they are at the bottom of the pyramid carrying it rather than someone who thinks they're at the top of the pyramid, that it's all about them. So kudos to him for doing that. They put people first and don't allow desireful possessions, at our salary, forget possessions, but possessions to control them, and one and others. And then lastly, responsibility. People won't follow people that are not responsible. And so not only do they care about the fact that they care about themselves, they want to see that conviction, that commitment, and that sense of responsibility to get things done, sometimes at all costs because it's a patient's life at stake, or it's just the right thing to do. So thank you again for allowing me to speak to you all about such a great person, great career with his family, great career in the Air Force, and this will make it all more special for him as we progress.